Hey, this is Pastor Dave, and this is your Monday Mojo. I hope you had a great, warm, awesome weekend. So this is kind of a classic Mojo, but it's really more like an editorial note. So yesterday I told a story at the end of my message, and my message was about this idea that God is trying to ping us, trying to reach us, trying to get in touch with us, to use us in everyday moments. And at the end of my message, a story came back to me from years ago, about a day when I was driving back from Indianapolis to Asbury Seminary and picked up some hitchhikers. Now, I did this on more than one occasion, so my story got jumbled with another story. So I want to tell you exactly how the story happened. So I'm driving back from Indianapolis, and I'm coming across 64, and I see this guy with his thumb out hitchhiking. And I had made this commitment to God that if I seen people that were hitchhiking when I was driving, I've got a big car, I'm a big guy, I'll give them a ride. And I just wasn't in the mood, so I went right past that guy. About a mile and a half later, there's another guy with his hand out, and I was like, okay, God, I get it. So I pulled over and I pick him up. He gets in the car, and we start driving. He said, hey, thanks so much. He said, listen, my buddies and I, we separated, and there's another guy a couple miles down the road. Could you pick him up? So obviously the first guy was part of this crew, too, that I missed. So I picked up the second guy. Now it's 2 on 1, right? And the second guy gets in the back of the car and just lays down and smells like some kind of drug. And I'm thinking, this is not real good. So I'm driving along, and I get into this conversation with this fella. And my 61 Chevy Impala did not have a gas gauge that worked. And in the 3 years I drove that car, 2 times I ran out of gas. Guess what? In the middle of the night, on the dark stretch of Highway 64, I ran out of gas with 2 strangers in my car. So we pull over to the side of the road, and the first car that comes along picks us up, or picks the guy up. So what I had done is I'd given the guy $25. I said, get in with this guy, go down to the gas station, get a gas tank, get gas in it, come back. Back then, $25 would be a lot of gas. And so I didn't know whether this guy would ever come back at all. Now, on the way to that point where we stopped, he had asked me what I was doing. I told him I was a student. He said, oh, UK? I said, no, Asbury Seminary. He said, what's that? I said, I'm studying to be a preacher. And he's like, no, yeah, and he used that word that I used yesterday. So then we go a little bit further. We stop. He comes back with the gas tank, and the guy drops him off. He gets in the car, and we're driving along after we filled it up, and he's silent, just silent. I was like, what? Because we were having a pretty strong conversation. And finally he goes, you ain't going to believe this. He said, that guy that just stopped to pick us up to give me gas, get you gas down there at the tank and bring it back, that guy? I said, yeah. He said, you know what he's doing? I said, what? He said, he's studying to be a minister. 2 of us, same night, these 2 guys. Now, I only tell that story because it was about 36 years ago when that happened in my life. And that's one of the few stories in my life that I could tell you where I really paid close attention and was used in a specific situation. And that makes me sad. The only reason I included it in my sermon yesterday, because it popped into my head. It'd been 36 years, and that's why I didn't even tell the story correctly. And then I thought about it yesterday afternoon, and I thought, God, I want to be way more available to you in everyday moments, to listen, to give me words to speak into somebody's life, or to give me an action to speak into somebody's life, so that I have more stories like that, where all I can say is, wow, that was you, and you let me be a part of it. Anyway, that's your editorial note for yesterday's sermon. Have a great week.